The GoPro Hero 9 is a camera that I like for many reasons, but it is also a camera I dislike for some reasons, mostly because in longer recordings, which is what I do quite often, it can tend to fail. I have noticed this camera heats up a lot, trying to see or think of ways to remedy that. The first thing that I did was switch from high bitrate to normal bitrate. I'm not totally sure it improves things. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. We'll see in the longer term. I have done quite a few recordings since my last video about this camera, and I had one early on failure where the second half of the video was gone. Not totally sure what happened there, but that kind of ties into the other thing that I do with this camera is that I double format inside the camera where you put your card in and you just go through the format process twice. I've seen people mention that online, various forums, messages, comments, all that, where double formatting is probably a good idea with that. Of course, depending on what memory card you're using, there can be good ones, there can be bad ones. It's just overall a quirky camera, but I do like it enough that I'm really trying to make it work as well as possible. The main thing, it's wider than the DJI Osmo Action that I have. I still use that camera, but there are definitely benefits for various situations. I have all of the mods, the media mod thing, which is nice. Audio, actually in the car like this, sounds pretty decent, and I've used it for a few videos. It is plastic though, the casing, so it kind of traps the heat in even worse than if it, were not on there. Also, let's see if I can find it in here. The Max Lens mod, which comes in its little case. So you've got this rubber thing where you put your regular cover, glass cover on there, and nice big lens for the Max Lens mod. I use this quite a bit with the third-person view stuff, which works really well. Did film me once in one of those situations, but overall it's worked. That uses 2.7K, which I think might be slightly less strain on the camera than 4K. My latest addition to see if I can improve the situation are these metal connection points for the camera. Of course, you have the 2 feet on the bottom of the GoPro Hero 9. These are metal. I've noticed that they get pretty hot when using the camera for longer periods of time. So I'm thinking the camera wicks away some of that heat, and definitely getting metal ones might help. Who knows? Maybe a little bit here and there if it gives me more time, or it helps the camera not completely fail. Should be good. These ones are from Fotodiox. They're called the GoTough series tripod connector. They have some weight to them, which is nice. These are aluminum. Here's a plastic one I have, for example. You can see that gives me a little bit more height or thinness, so it should help with the media mod especially. Before I get to the media mod, I'm going to talk about memory cards a little bit. I have a SanDisk Extreme Plus 128GB card. You do not want to use these with the camera. Another memory card that I've used quite a bit, this had one failure. I'm not sure which of my two of this same card had it, but I rely on these more often, of course, than the SanDisk one. These are Samsung Evo Plus UHS 3. Pretty nice, 128GB. This PNY Elite X V30 card. I haven't used it a ton, but so far I haven't had any issues at all with this one. But who knows if I will in the future or not. So I'm going to put that PNY card into the camera. You have to be really careful with this. If you don't get it locked into place right away, you might shoot the card off into pretty far because the spring in here has got some kick to it. Another thing to take note of is with the external charger, at least the one that I have, it can only charge these batteries to like 95, 96% usually, which is weird. Just something to take note of. If you want a fully 100% charged battery, you have to charge it through the camera itself with some type of USB adapter. With the media mod on this side, you've got this little spring-loaded thing to open up, and you have to slot in your GoPro from there. And it kind of, there's a little clink when it goes into the USB connection. Unusual design, I can't say it's the best ever, but it works. Now you have to pull your prongs up. On this side, it's curved down. That's going to be where your screw comes into the camera. I do think using the media mod is an especially bad situation because of the plastic surrounding it keeps even more heat into the camera, which is not good with the GoPro. So you can see that it is set to around 95% battery. This was fully charged maybe a day or two ago. I'm going to turn this on real quick and you can get an idea of what it sounds like with the media mod compared to, say, the M50, with the Boya microphone. Of course, I'm hand holding the GoPro instead of with the M50 that's on a mount. Not especially fair comparison. With the M50, I have it set to auto levels plus optical stabilization on the 11 to 22. So I don't have digital stabilization, but the auto levels is kind of like that. It's just not as extreme. Right here I've got the GoPro in linear with standard bit rate and also auto leveling. In this case, it's likely using a lot less of the GoPro's sensor, which makes it worse in darker situations, I'm sure. Actually, I can go through this little path here so we can get an idea of what it looks like. Not too bad. This Fotodiox mount actually is a little easier to hold than some of them because the base is wider, which is nice. That's the update on the GoPro Hero 9. This little addition to it using normal bit rate and just hoping I can get this camera working consistently without major issues. Scott from Banzai. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks.